As soon as the Articles of Confederation were enacted, the need to strengthen them was apparent. The New York State Legislature passed a resolution in July 1782 written by Alexander Hamilton, already calling for a convention of the states to consider amendments to the Articles as a whole. It believed the states would never be able to make appropriate changes to them if they acted separately. In late 1785, James Madison spoke in the Virginia House of Delegates on the need for Congress to have more commercial powers, including the 5% impost that was first proposed 4 years earlier. The House preferred a short-term, renewable grant of power. If it worked, as opposed to a permanent one, Virginia might not be able to get out of if it didn't. Madison was disappointed in the decision.
I think it better to trust to further experience, and even distress, for an adequate remedy, than to try a temporary measure which may stand in the way of a permanent one. James Madison to George Washington, December 9, 1785.
In January 1786, on the final day of the session, the House of Delegates issued another proposal for a general convention of the states to recommend a federal plan for regulating commerce, the Annapolis Convention. Madison was skeptical of its success, but he did not dismiss the idea outright.
The expedient is no doubt liable to objections, and will probably miscarry. I think, however, it is better than nothing, and as a recommendation of additional powers to Congress is within the purview of the Commission, it may possibly lead to better consequences than at first occur. James Madison to James Monroe, January 22, 1786.
In the months leading up to the Annapolis Convention, spirits in the Confederation Congress could not have been lower. In May, Charles Pinckney, delegate from South Carolina, proposed in the Congress that a grand committee be appointed to take into consideration the affairs of the nation, that it was necessary that Congress should be invested with greater powers, or it must fall. No money was going into or coming out of the Treasury, and states were ignoring Congress's requisitions. Congress was unable to fund adequate defense on the high seas as Barbary pirates menaced American ships as trade became stagnant.
This honorable body is not a little alarmed at the present crisis. Our public affairs wear a cloudy aspect. I hope it is that the interposition of heaven may be seen in extricating us from difficulty. His former unmerited favor to this guilty land encourages me to hope for it, though it should almost be against hope. James Manning, delegate from Rhode Island, May 1786.
In August, an ambitious Congress produced 7 amendments to the Articles of Confederation, but like all previous attempts, they did not obtain the unanimous approval of the states. Commercial reform had taken precedence in all talks of amending the Articles, because without even that, no other improvements were possible.
Many gentlemen, both within and without Congress, wish to make this meeting subservient to a plenipotentiary convention for amending the Confederation. Though my wishes are in favor of such an event, yet I despair so much of its accomplishment at the present crisis that I do not extend my views beyond a commercial reform. To speak the truth, I almost despair even of this. James Madison to Thomas Jefferson, August 12, 1786.
Virginia sent invitations to all 13 states to meet in Annapolis in September 1786. 9 accepted and appointed commissioners, but commissioners from only 5 states, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, actually attended. James Madison was appointed one of the 3 commissioners from Virginia. Since so few commissioners attended, they agreed they could accomplish little more than issue a report of the modest proceedings. Alexander Hamilton wrote the report to the Confederation Congress, reiterating the need to consider a system of uniform commercial regulation, which simply could not be emphasized enough. He also reported that New Jersey's commissioners had arrived with instructions to consider commercial regulation and other important matters. With those 3 words, the Annapolis Convention succeeded more than any of the commissioners in attendance could imagine. It was their unanimous opinion to once again call on the states to appoint commissioners for another convention, scheduled for the second Monday in May, 1787, in Philadelphia. To advance the interests of the Union, more than just commercial regulation, and to devise such further provisions as shall appear to them necessary to render the Constitution of the Federal Government adequate to the exigencies of the Union. James Madison told George Washington that further events, even distressing events, might be the only thing that could secure a permanent solution to the Confederation's inadequacies. Less than 2 weeks before the commissioners assembled in Annapolis, events had begun to unfold in Massachusetts that gave Madison just what he asked for.